Attention, please. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome.
Well, hello, everybody. How are you? This is Andy Smith, 34-year veteran of the comic book industry. And I thought in this video, I would go over clothing, wrinkles, stuff like that. Because, guys, if you're drawing superhero comics, unless it's a book where it's all men and women in tights, you're going to have to draw real people, which means clothing. So before I share my screen to do a little tutorial, I thought I'd show you, I've got a bunch of books. Actually a lot of books go over clothing if it's a book on figures and stuff. Two of my favorites, Dynamic Wrinkles and Drapery by Burne Hogarth. This is a very good book. It's really in-depth and detailed. I mean, the guy wrote an entire book that is, how many pages is this bad boy? 144 pages just on wrinkles and drapery. So really good book right here. But I gotta tell you, for comic book type of stuff, drawing the head and figure, Jack Hamm, this book, besides the fact it's all about drawing the head and figure, I have some pages tabbed here. Hopefully I can get to them quickly for some of my favorite stuff. So like I said, it's all about drawing the head and figure. So that's awesome. But it has in the back of it, I'm getting there. Besides, it has how to draw shoes and stuff on feet. It does have a section on clothing that starts towards the end of the book, and it just goes into simple stuff. You know, Burne Hogarth's book is very in-depth, more in-depth than you might need. That is up to you. But this book is great. It goes into different types of folds right there. At the top on the left, you can see, and it shows different. The reason I like this book, because he does a lot with ink, and it shows rendering styles and folds and such, and it shows how the clothing hangs and different examples here on the left. You can see amount of detail in folds and such, and that really comes down to personal style as well. So this is the last one I'm going to show, then I'll get to drawing some. This page right here just showing the guy's arm, you know, hanging down by his side. Now it's a suit jacket, so, you know, once again, t-shirts, different type of clothing will react differently, but the principles are the same. So that is awesome. And then here, the very last page of the book, I like how he says, let me get this open here, right and wrong. Now, I will say I disagree. The one that says right, number 8, I love it because it's nice and simple and it gets the point across. Number 7, he says wrong, doesn't really bother me. It's just more, in my opinion, it's just more extreme lighting. I mean, I've seen comics that artists do stuff that way, and I think it works. It's just about being consistent. So you have to be consistent. Hopefully, there it goes, camera focused. All right, so let's get to the drawing portion. Add to stage. There we go. Let's see. I think this layout will work better right here. So before the show, I sketched out a male figure in kind of a running type pose, because this type of pose will kind of encapsulate everything. So I'm going to draw on top of it. So one thing when you're doing wrinkles are you've got like this arm coming forward. Well, where are the wrinkles coming from? The arm's coming forward. There's a tension point. Most tension points are the joints. So you got the shoulders, elbows, waist, hips, knees, right? So if he's wearing like a jacket, if the arm is hanging down to the side like this, and you see the hand sticking out here, well, the jacket will come down, and this obviously applies to women as well. The opening of the jacket for the hand to come out, sleeve, will come down past the wrist probably a little bit. Once he pulls his arm forward, the jacket is going to pull back some. And then always remember the seams. And remember, guys, we have mirrors, we have cell phones, we all have clothing. Take a picture of yourself as close as possible in the pose that you're doing so you can see how the wrinkles go. So this arm's coming forward. The seam for the sleeve would be right here. The outline swoops like this. And then with the arm coming forward, it's going to pull from underneath the armpit and go around, because once again, the arm is coming forward. So it's going to come out and then around and again and again. And then once this, at this point, it comes down to preference. You can get real detailed and draw a lot more in here, or you can kind of end it with as much detail as you want. This wrinkle here, I did, see now it creates this Y shape. Well, this is because of compression. And when you have compression on something, it zigzags, right? So the sleeves rolled up, and you now have these compression wrinkles going on when you push the clothing up. Now the arm is bent because it's coming like this. So the arm is bent right here. So this means you're going to have a few compression wrinkles around where the arm is bending. And I'm not getting into like style and stuff yet. I will do a little bit on that. So you've got the few compression wrinkles there. Pulls out. And this is, the sleeve is coming back, because when you stretch your arm out, you can even see on a t-shirt, it pulls back some. So then with this arm going back away from us, you've got the seam. Same thing, his arm's going back, which means the sleeve's going to pull back some. So you've got kind of like the outline here. And then once again, from under the armpit, because the arm's going back, it's pulling back like this. So the wrinkles go back. And then if you want, you know, you've got that Y shape. And this I all got from, Jack Hamm, even George Bridgman and such. So it's pulling back. And then here, because the arm is bent, because it's going like this and back like this, which means with the elbow bending, you're going to have some compression wrinkles in here. You might even have it in the sleeve a little bit as it goes towards the wrist, like that. And then, you know, turn the layer off below, and you can kind of see, oh, look at that. Those wrinkles are kind of neat. Now, if this is a jacket and it's open with this arm going back, it's going to pull the jacket back some. depending on how long it is. And then even with this one, because this arm's coming forward, plus it gives it motion. You've got the collar, however you want to do it. Here, right here with the shoulder, it comes down, but because it's coming back, there'd be some compression wrinkles up here. And then coming from under the armpit, you could have wrinkles that come out like that from under the armpit. Here, you got to think about what's in front. And with the arm coming forward, it's compressing some here, like that. Okay, so that's kind of like a jacket. So the basic point is kind of like you saw in that Jack Hamm book. If you've got the arm coming down like this, excuse me, and you got the sleeve, and the sleeve comes, or the long sleeve comes down. When he raises the arm up like this, the arm swings up. Well, what else does? The wrinkles swing. And they kind of radiate out from under the armpit and get longer to the wrist. Like that. And that applies to the leg as well. So you've got his pants. So if he had a belt, it would wrap around his waist like this. You've got his pants. If he's wearing jeans, let's say he's wearing tighter jeans. Well, if he's wearing tighter jeans, you're not going to really see many wrinkles in the jeans, except for the knee bends here. So you're going to have these compression wrinkles in here. And then the knee right here is pulling forward. So you might have just a few pulling off the knee like this, because the knee is pushing forward. And by doing that, it's going to create some pulls for the wrinkles. And then from the hip back here, the leg, once again, this leg down by the side like this, the leg swings up like this. So it swings up. This is a tension point, the hip. Well, the wrinkles swing up and around as well. And you always want to think about the underlying shape. So it swings up, and then depending on the bagginess of the pants, it could go around like this. So it really depends, and that's where you have to think about how baggy are the clothes and such. Right here, his leg is coming up, so it's going to create a little bit of compression wrinkles here where the leg is coming up. And you turn it off and you can kind of see, oh, okay, that makes sense. Cool. Here on the front of his pants, I always sketch in a center line, even though it's underneath. Well, you've got the hip right here, and the hip bone, if you want to say, you can feel it on your side. You know, your waistband goes around. You're like, oh, that's a bony landmark I've talked about before. Well, depending if the pants are really tight, you're not going to really have a lot of wrinkles in here. But if they're looser, you have some wrinkles that come down like this, and basically they're swinging around from the hip. And then with this leg going back like this, and I always get my outline sketched in, and this is how I rough things in. Obviously not full pencils. This leg is swinging back. Well, here's the knee. You've got the hip joint, which is a ball like this. Let me just show you bigger. So you've got the hip joint, you've got the knee, and it's going back. What's it doing? It's going back, which means the wrinkles are going to go like this, coming from the outside in, and then the crotch is here. So you have that going, the crotch angling up some, and then the wrinkles coming out and under the crotch. So you can't see it, but right here you could do wrinkle here as the material comes down, another one, and then this leg is bent. So what happens? You get some compression wrinkles in here like that. And then with the knee, depending once again on how tight the pants are, you've got a stress point here where the knee is. So they all pull like that. Now I'm just showing the general direction of them, right? And then let's say he's wearing a t-shirt that's tucked in, but it's not super tight, right? So since it's not really tight and it's tucked in, because he's a clean cut man that likes to tuck his t-shirts in. Well, this shoulder here is pulling backwards, right? So if he's standing like this, and that's his upper body right here, think of the potato sack, right? Well, that's straight up and down, okay? Well, now this guy, potato sack like this, hips are going this way. So what happens with the potato sack? It crunches here, compresses, but then stretches over to here because of the twist. So how does that relate to this shirt? Well, his arm, shoulder up in here, once again, coming from under the armpit, you can do a wrinkle down to here, here, and they all kind of radiate out. And then you need to take into account there's this armpit here with this arm coming forward, so it's pulling this way like that. The neck hole for the t-shirt isn't going to be perfect because he's moving, so it's not going to be this perfectly round hole. Like, I mean, mine's not. I'm just sitting here, you know. So it will pull back like that. And then here, remember, it's crunching kind of up. The material's compressing. So you might have, think of that Y shape again. Some of the wrinkles getting bunched up. So then when you turn off the guy underneath, you have something like that. Okay. Now, one thing I want to kind of go over as well is, well, let me do this. So you've got wrinkles. Go over here. You've got, let's draw. We'll say these are pants. His foot or a foot here. Another foot here. And if the pants are jeans and they're the right length, right? And what I mean by that is, you know, the guy's not wearing jeans that are way too long. They're just the right length on them. Well, then, you know, you've all seen skinny jeans where you really don't see any wrinkles at all. And then you've seen jeans that have some. So from the crotch, they come out and then they come down and they just kind of taper off to nothing. And then same thing on this side, crotch, bunches up a little bit around the crotch, comes down because the knee's here, pulling a little tension. Down by the knee, you might have some bunching of the material like this. And on this one too, comes down, knees here, so you might have some bunching of the material around the knee. And then it comes down to the top of the shoe. Now, like I said, you might have some wrinkles that drape down, but not many like that. Okay. Well, if he's wearing pants that are really, let's say, long and they're kind of baggy, which we've all seen. Well, if they're baggy, that means that the crotch will come down farther, so it won't be as defined. And then as it comes down, it's still going to rest on the top of the foot. So it curves around, and drawing through, it curves around the front, goes around the back to the other side. But if it's really baggy, it'll come down and then it bunches up down here. And the way I sometimes do it is wherever I find the center of the leg and I drop a line down, and as it bunches up, I do that. It's a squiggle, but that squiggle indicates how the pants are bunching up, and then the wrinkles I can just pop in going by these squiggles, and it's kind of like an accordion in a way, like that. So you turn it off and you go, oh, look at that. That pant leg is really getting bunched up. And it's a zigzag like this because the wrinkles, just like this zigzag, see that? You can see how it bunches up. So the wrinkles compress down on each other. And then this guideline, you could say this center line I did, you take out and you go, oh, wow, those are compression wrinkles. Okay. For baggy clothing, baggy sleeves, whatever. So those are compression wrinkles. But one thing I kind of want to show is different types of rendering. Now, one thing I learned a lot of technical stuff from the books, like, Dynamic Wrinkles, the Jack Hamm book. But drawing comics, there's nothing wrong with looking at some of your favorite artists, not to swipe, but to see how they interpret wrinkles, or even rendering for that matter. Or let's say you're like, man, I'm drawing a tree, and I'm a huge John Buscema fan, right? And I'm drawing a tree. Well, how did he render trees? And the thing is, since you're looking at finished comics, you're actually looking at the finished style of the inker, but it still gives you an idea. So I downloaded some images here. So let me show them real quick. Let's see. I can't remember the order, so I'll just go here. So this is John Romita Jr. Okay. John Romita Jr., I love his style. It's all about economy of line. It's kind of like Alex Toth in that way. It's simple. He's all about telling a story, but look at these wrinkles, and you can see he doesn't get that worked up into the details. So he's got the shoulder coming out. Oh, that was it on the eraser. He's got the shoulder coming out here. Blow this up some. The arms coming out. The dude's wearing a poofier type jacket. Now the colorist colored the shirt underneath, because I believe this is the shirt underneath. It looks that way, even though the shirt's black. So I don't know, but that looks like the shirt underneath. Anyhow, this jacket has kind of like shoulder pads. You can see by how squared off it is. The seam, he doesn't draw all the way through. He stops it. So your eye finishes it. Here, he doesn't even draw the seam of the jacket. And then the arms coming up, well, here's the armpit right here. And he's got the wrinkles just kind of sketched in, but you get the idea. He's showing the direction of the arm with the way he's drawing the wrinkles. Here, it compresses, and he just does it really simply with just a few lines like that. You can see that that is bunching. That's how he indicates bunching of material. These lines here are basically pulling from the elbow, right, to show that there's still a looseness to the jacket. His leg here coming forward. What I say, you've got the hip back here, which is a ball, right? Well, the legs coming forward, so these wrinkles are all coming basically off of that back edge from around the buttocks, if you will, to show the direction the wrinkles are going in. This arm here, he's got this arm coming at us. You can tell because if you drew through the end of the sleeve, the cylinder is coming at us. And then the arm's bent, so it curves around. And then he just does a few more to indicate the compression of that material right there. This is the upper arm. Like I said, this is the theme to the jacket. He just doesn't draw the whole thing, which is fine. And then it wraps around and goes down to the inside part of the elbow here because of how the arm's moving. Right? Now, this is where every artist is different. This looks fine. I don't have a problem with it. I think it looks cool. However, if I was drawing it, I might have just let's take away John's drawing. So you've got the arm here and it's swung back, right? So the arm would hang here normally, but he's got it swinging back. Okay. So to me, coming out from under the armpit, I might have drawn it like this because the arm's pulling back. And then here, a little bit of compression, you know, and then here underneath, it would bunch up too. But once again, John has this really cool style economy of line. So both work. Okay. They're both correct and they look fine. So that's him. Let's see. This is the great Jack Kirby. I pulled this page because you've got a lot of everything on it. You've got, let me lower the opacity here. And I love Jack Kirby and Joe Sinnott. And I've seen enough of Jack's pencils. Jack wasn't one for sharpening his pencil. So a lot of these thick marks, not that Joe Sinnott's not a tracer, but I can picture Jack's pencils. So you've got Reed Richards standing here in a trench coat. His hand's in his pocket. It's pulling the pocket out. So what happens? It pulls tension like that. That's what those lines indicate. This arm is down here. Going through the word balloons, you can see the seam of the jacket here. His arm's coming from behind and in front. And look at that. He's got it pulling forward. Another line here to indicate a little crunching because the material's getting bunched up. This line here indicates a pull forward. These indicate a pull forward. And then I'm going to hazard a guess. If this This was obviously lettered on the original art, so you can't see what's behind it, but I'm going to guess Jack probably did a few more coming forward, and then maybe some slashes like that because it's bunching up, just like you did over here. So you got the seam of the jacket, the sleeve comes down, but this arm is coming forward like this. So the sleeve comes down, so you've got the shoulder, you've got the arm, you've got the forearm coming forward to go into his pocket. Okay, so you've got the seam here. Well, material hangs. So you see this line here, he did. Well, he's pulling that from the tension point of the shoulder as the material basically droops down to go to the inside. And then if you could see the side of his arm, what it might look like is this here is coming from here to the front because this is the side of his shoulder. And then there's probably one coming this way to the back, but we can't see that from that angle. And then here, because the arm's bent, what'd he do? He's got some compression wrinkles going on. And that gets the point across. And I love the thickness that he does with these. Down here, he's got this leg coming forward. Reed's where this is from the 70s, maybe late 60s. Reed's leg is coming forward, the knees here. So it's pulling forward some, and that's what these wrinkles indicate on his pants. Ben Grimm is great. Ben's wearing a jacket that is very loose. So this whole arm here is just all compression, which basically means if Ben took this jacket off, this sleeve, which you can see the bottom of the sleeve here, if Ben took the jacket off and laid it out, the sleeve might come down this much further. But with all these compression wrinkles that Jack's drawing here, he's indicating that the material's bunched up. And I love how he does it with just these nice, thick, solid blacks. And like I said, I've seen Jack's pencils. He probably just did something like this. And then Joe gave it the nice, clean swoops and everything to it. This material's bunching up here. It's bunching up here. And once again, if you look at just this area right here, if you were to flip this around, oh, look at that. It's that Y shape. I didn't want to turn that off. And then last but not least, we got, we've got Crystal back here. She's wearing basically leggings, so no wrinkles in the thighs. And then down here in her lower leg, they're skin tight leggings that women wear, yoga pants. So on the lower leg, not a lot, but just some bunching up. That's what these lines indicate. And then this is just shadow that he's doing. And kind of like I showed, you've got the center line he's drawn down. And I seriously doubt these tight yoga pants, you would see a pleat line like that. But he's doing it because it helps the reader identify, oh, front of the leg. And then you can see he's got this little little curves in here, right? Come down, and then this, because he's indicating it's bunching up some without drawing the wrinkles where it's bunching up. On Johnny, you can see he drew the seam. You've got the seam goes down. This arm is coming forward like this. Well, once again, here's the ball. If the arm's hanging down like this, the wrinkles, because this is the highest tension point on the side, like that. If the arm swings forward, it's going to pull, and that's what he does. So he's got pulls coming from the elbow back, and then from the outside, like I showed here, basically coming underneath the armpit, around. And then this here, he's showing compression as it bunches up by his shoulder. And then there's compression in the sleeve clothing there. And then unlike Reed, whose pants are just hanging straight down. Oops. Reed's pants, like I showed before, are just hanging straight down because they're dress pants. Well, Johnny's wearing some type of, I don't know, they're not dress pants. They're tucked into boots. You can see. So basically, the material comes down off the upper leg fine. Not many wrinkles there. There's the few around the waist I show. But then around the knee, it bunches up. He's got some squiggles going on. And then this is under the knee. And then here, it's bunching up more, but not much because he didn't draw a lot as it gets into the pants because they're compression wrinkles, because the pant, as it goes into the boot, is pushing up. And while it pushes up, it creates those compression wrinkles I talked about. Like that. So that's Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby, the great Jack Kirby. And guys, tracing over like I'm doing here, it's a great way to practice and learn how the wrinkles go. Same with photos. So who do we got here? Oh yeah. John Buscema. John Buscema drew a bunch of romance books for Marvel. I thought this panel was great because this figure of this dude bowling kind of has it all. He's got the leg coming forward, so you don't really see much. Here's the knee. If he wanted to, he could have drawn a wrinkle like this coming from behind the pant and then coming forward to the knee because of the tension point of the knee, but you don't have to, and he didn't. However, because his leg is bent, it's jacking up, and it makes it look like he has high waters on, with the pant leg is being pulled up because his leg is bent like this, if you saw it from the side. And what happens when it bends? It pulls the material up, and then, you've got the compression wrinkles here. Well, he's got the compression wrinkles here, but it's also coming from the tension of the knee as well. That's what these are indicating. And then these are really loose. They're definitely not jeans. So coming from the knee, he's got this one that comes down because he drew the pant leg instead of just doing something where the leg's coming forward and doing the pant leg like a perfect ellipse, which is kind of boring. He put a little motion into it because the leg's coming forward, so it's excuse me, it's pulling the pant leg out into the right, and then the knees here, and this fold from how he drew the pant leg flowing around is coming from the knee. And then you've got the other pulls as well, compression, so on. Then on his back leg, which is really cool, well, back to the front leg. So the front leg's coming forward. So this material up here, because his waist is like this, right? Well, this material up here has to bunch up. And that's what he's indicating with these lines. And the real subtle thing is he pulled this out. Why did he do that? That's the pocket of the dress pants. And you'll notice when you're bent over, the pocket will push out like that. How do you learn that? Probably looking at photos. I mean, that is how you learn this stuff, guys. You can read these books that I showed, but you also have to observe real life. And then, like I showed, he's got these draping wrinkles coming down from the hips. And then this leg here is going backwards. So if you did a cross section of the cylinder, it's going back like that. So he's got these wrinkles coming from the crotch as they go around like that. So you turn it off. See what I mean? So that's just that is just really cool. Oh, wrong layer. You watch enough of my videos, you know I always get confused with my layers. And then the shirt, he's got the base of the shirt. Doesn't look like it's tucked in. Doesn't matter. This arm is going back like this. Short sleeve. It bunches up some because it's being pulled. As the arm goes back, the sleeve's riding up. So he did just some indications here with these curved lines to show the compression wrinkles. He did draw the seam of the sleeve to draw through like this. Turn this off. You can see the shoulder, and then it curves like this. Well, here the material has got to bunch up. So once again, you got like this Y shape in here as the material bunches up. Right? And then I'm not even, you can tell I don't have the layer on that he drew. With this arm pulled back, this is all pulling from underneath. The material's pulling from underneath the armpit and going around. And then because he's bent over like this, you're going to have these compression wrinkles in the shirt as they pull back as well. Like that. And you get the idea. Now, I'm just sketching these in lightly because I'm just trying to get the point across to you guys of how wrinkles work and move. The style is really kind of what it comes down to, what you're influenced by. So see, you can see through. I didn't do all of them exactly, but I have the motion of what John was doing the same. So, and then real quick, this girl in the back, she's wearing a shirt with baggy sleeves. Her arm is right down by her side, and the material just really it's like it's dripping down as it cuffs in at the cuff, and it pinches. So that's what these, I'll do it bigger over here. This is her sleeve, but it has a cuff that is a lot thinner. So the material has to bunch together down here like that. The shoulder, once again, it's just hanging there. So you've got the material hanging, and you could get as crazy as you want with it. But, I think simplicity is best. So, I think John has just the right amount when he does his clothing and stuff. He's probably one of my faves. Let's see. Who is this? Mike Wieringo, the great Mike Wieringo, who we lost way too soon. Mike, great cartoonist. And you can see he really does. You kind of want to say the bare minimum, but he's a great cartoonist from the standpoint of, if you look at animation and you look at like Disney cartoons, and I mean like Disney as in Cinderella, Snow White, the classic cartoons and stuff, you can't mess around with lots of lines. So it's all about economy of line and putting them in the right place. So he draws the seam. Oops, I had a new layer. he draws the seam of the shirt, and he's got just one coming right here from underneath the armpit, right? Boom. That's it. That's it. He probably doesn't even need that one. And then the Clark sleeves are rolled up. Well, when you roll up your sleeves, you got the cuff. If you look at real cuffs, they're more detailed than this. He just cut this line in like this just to show a little overlap to it, give it a little bit of depth. He did it on that side too. It compresses the material. Instead of getting really detailed, he's got just this one right here. And then it hangs down, comes like this. Once again, this is the shoulder ball. The main stress point is right here at the top center. Comes down, sweeps it down. He indicated this indentation here for a little compression. He's got the compression here and then a little bit right here in the back as it tucks into the cuff. On the front of the figure, he's hunched over some. His shirt is tucked in. Follow the center line. It's nice and smooth down, and then it comes down, hits a wrinkle, and you get the little bit of compression. Here's the top, and then this is thicker because it's the bottom. So if you looked at it from the side, if you looked at that shirt from the side, it would be smooth, and then it hits his waist. It pops out, goes back down, and then into his pants. And it goes whoop. And that's like from the side. So that's why this is black and thicker, and that line's thin. Now, he could have done a lot more. He's got the little bit coming off the back of the collar, but he could have done something like that coming down to show the pull. He could have added the actual stitch line that's on the top of every dress shirt. He could have done pulls from the buttons if he wanted to. He's got this one coming in from the side here, showing, once again, coming from under the armpit and down like that. And I mean, he could have done a lot more if he wanted to, but that's not Mike's style. So you need to be consistent. You can't do tons of detail like I just kind of showed, and it's not even tons on this shirt, but then leave the pants nice and simple. Real quick on the pants, here's the knee. You've got these pulls. What are they doing? Coming off the knee. And then the pants are kind of baggy. And this is how Mike's showing it with this big space here. So if you followed the form down, it would come down, around, cut in, and then back out, in, and out like that. So this is his way of showing a compression wrinkle. And it's in shadow, just like this is in shadow, obviously, as well. Turn that off, boost up his again. So this is also the lighting and such too, that he's doing. And then last, I've got one, I think I've got one more example here. Come on. Turn off mic. What do we got? Olivier Coipel. Out of all the artists, I kind of worked from like Jack Kirby, well, actually John Romita Jr., who is still working, doing great stuff, to Jack Kirby, to John Buscema, Mike Wieringo, Olivier Coipel, who is modern day, big time, influenced a lot of guys. I love his work. I thought this figure here was great because you really can see what I'm talking about with the wrinkles and stuff. So this dude's shirt's tucked in. Oops, I always do that. You got his waistband here because his shirt's tucked in. He is so, I love his work. He is so simplified. I would have been like, well, I got to draw a belt. The guy must be wearing a belt. No belt. Love it. His outlines are nice and clean. I mean, nothing's really popping off this outline. Same here, nice and clean. Since this leg is popping up like this, it's pulling tight here. So the outline is nice and smooth. And then he just has this nice arc of the pants. And then what he has going on right here is like the pocket of the dude's pants. And then you've got these wrinkles pulling because this leg is pulling all the way up, swooping up like this. So where do these wrinkles originate from? Under the crotch. And you can see he's got it going out like this. And nice and simple. Here, the leg is bent. And like, if I was drawing it, I probably would have done some type of compression in here just to show the bend in the leg. He didn't at all, and it works great. But you can see just a little bit that I did also works to show the bend. So, you know, it all depends. Here, the material with the leg up is really crushing up on his pants. He did do the center line of the dude's pants. And because it's pulling, his leg's pulling, the pants are pulling forward. So he's got the compression very simply done here. And then there's a subtle wrinkle indication there. And then he's got these pulls coming from this leg. So this leg's probably going back like this. And since it's going back, you've got the knee. All these wrinkles are coming off this tension point of the knee and the back of his leg if you were to draw it through. The shoulders kick back some with what he's doing. So because this shoulder's back and this one's here, these wrinkles all radiate around the body like that, going up to that shoulder that's back. And then under his armpit. So you get this radiant lines. And now what I was saying is, if it was me, and this is why he is so good with the economy of line. Let me do another new layer here. Back here, I probably would have, he's got it nice and smooth, right? I probably would have been like, oh, well, this wrinkle comes back, it wraps around the body, pulls back around, crunches in a little bit like that, gets tucked into the pants, pulls out like this. And he's got this one as well, which wraps around the body. So what I'm saying is, you can see how, I indicated, let me get rid of that. He had this nice firm line. You can see here, this is more realistic, but it's comics. The fold, wrinkle, whatever comes down, wraps around the body. And because it does that, it's going to have an edge to it, which comes down like this. And this wrinkle comes down, wraps around the body. It's going to have an edge to it. It's tucked in by his waistband, so it's going to pinch a little bit here. That's why I did that overlap with the wrinkle pinching in. So if you saw this from the side, it would indicate kind of an oval, squishy shape like that. Squishy. And then the clothing comes around and pulls up. Once again, he did it all just with these straight lines, almost like John Romita Jr., keeping a nice clean outline. Both work. It really comes down to preference, style, and all that. So that is it for this quick tutorial on wrinkles. I say quick, it's an hour long. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. I always go into these thinking, you know what, I'm going to do this in 20 minutes. And then I just get carried away. So forgive me if you're like, man, this guy goes on forever. But I just like to try and get as much information across as I can. I probably could do more, but I don't want to go over an hour. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, as always. And of course, you guys know, if you don't, I've got a campaign going on right now. Lilineth Infernal Conflict, a dark fantasy epic. Lilineth's talons carve a bloody path through the abyss to crush a new threat, Demon Lord Vexarion. Guys, you want to know more about this campaign? Click the link in the description below. If you have a cell phone, you can scan that QR code in the upper left-hand corner. It'll take you there. Check it out. Go back the campaign. It's because of your support that allows me to produce these self-published books. There's no outside funding. It's you guys. Well, you guys are the outside. You guys are backing the books. So what I mean is there's nobody behind me with a truck full of money going, here, produce this book. No, it's all with you guys backing the campaign. Thank you so much. I'm playing the trailer, and I'll catch you with another tutorial video soon. Bye-bye, everybody.